Never.
Okay, so we are now live. All right, I'll call the meeting to order here at 6:31 p.m. We have get the meeting going here. We are broadcasting on YouTube via live stream. So welcome to the October 17th meeting here. Moving into the agenda. Next slide, please. Then next slide. There you go, perfect. We have a quorum of the board here. Nick Flamond is out of town and will not be able to attend for business. Proof of notice, this meeting was posted on the exit gate on Sunday, and then everyone should have received a form of communication 14 days out with the notice that we'll be doing the budget this evening for 2019. Disposal and reading of the prior meeting minutes. When I sent out the slides, meeting minutes should have been attached to that. I didn't think there was anything outstanding from last month that we on there, so nobody has any changes of that. I will make the motion to waive the reading of last month's meeting minutes and accept as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, for the second, the rest of the portion here, we'll go through the proposed budget first and get those motions accepted and pushed through. And then we'll have the financial summary and dashboard, our committee reports. We'll talk through the recreation program, the logo stuff, the marquee project update that we're kind of wrapping in a new program that that Kathy and I were tossing around, Turtle Creek 2026. And then we'll talk through the gatehouse lighting quotes. Okay. And then go from there. Okay. So moving into that, the proposed budget, we did the deep dive review last month. So what we have is essentially a carryover of what we had for the amended 2018 budget that we had put through. So you see that there will be no change. If we look at quarterly assessment levels, Boca Point and Water's Edge will remain at $533 a quarter. Avalon will be $355 a quarter. Breakdown there you can see from an income and expense side, the balance is $341,120 for income from Boca and Waters, $164,720 from Avalon, for a total of $505,840. So I don't know if you guys had any questions coming out of the last deep dive review on any of the items. I think it was pretty straightforward. Since everything's staying the same, there's
pretty much a lot of detail.
Yeah, so I guess, Maria, are you ready for this monster of a motion that we have to do? So, do we do them individually or all at once?
You could do the budget and then each individual assessment.
Okay, so I will make the motion to approve the total budget of $505,840 for 2019 fiscal year, with $341,120 associated with Boca Point and Water's Edge quarterly assessments, and $164,720 associated with the Avalon quarterly assessments. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. With that, I'll make another motion for the quarterly assessment levels for Boca Point and Water's Edge. The quarterly assessment level will be $533. For Avalon, the quarterly assessment level will be $355. Do we have a second?
Aye, second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimously. So we are locked and loaded for the 2019 budget. Thank you for the work and going through this for about 2 months.
Thank you.
Going on this.
Good job keeping the assessments the same.
So in looking ahead, the coupon books from Alliance, they get, when are they supposed to hit, like December? Like you delivered?
Yes, they like to have them already ordered and ready to go for December.
Okay.
Can we have a choice to opt out of that?
Well, that was where I was going. You read my mind on that.
Oh, okay.
Because I would like to see if you have any communities that do this or any kind of research where we can somehow get electronic coupon books, where the only way you can get a physical one is to opt in.
Right.
and then people can print it off of their account.
For me, it's a waste, you know.
Yeah, do it by email, maybe?
There's gotta be a way to, I guess, digitize this,
Yeah.
somewhere you print yourself. Especially if you lose it, you don't have to request another book, you can just go print another
I do
coupon.
everything with email.
Yeah. So I'd like for us to take a look at that in the next year, so we can have something potentially for the 2020 budget
Yeah.
on that.
'Cause I think if you go electronically, you don't need coupons per se, right? You just need to know what it is quarterly.
Yeah, and then where to send it, if you send it, you know, there should always be the option for you to print off a coupon and
Right.
physically mail it out type of thing.
Yes. Okay.
Each their own.
Well, I just want to be able to opt out,
Yeah.
because I know what it is.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's a
I'll
waste
discuss
of.
it with them. I don't know what they have set in place now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Move on.
Yep. So with that, we'll move into our financial performance and dashboarding. For the month here, we had a solid month overall. Income was pretty much right there, it was like $100 favorable. G&A, we were at 29, almost 3,000 favorable there. That came from accounting, which is more of a timing for our yearly CPA report with 2350, which I believe was last month. Management fees, postage is down, legal is down, miscellaneous, we had some stuff go through there for the kind of offset there. But overall, G&A is still running pretty well overall year to date also. From a grounds perspective, we're 1,000 favorable there. You can close out my Cisco AnyConnect on
Just close it.
there. Yeah. So we've got, you know, holiday lights, which is timing, the grounds 300. The fountain was $100, and that came from, I think I reported it out last month, that we had that starter relay that needed to be replaced for $224. So that drove that unfavorability right there. And then RIM was $700 unfavorable. That's actually going to reverse out next month, as we had the 3-year Orange County engineering report get booked into that, where we've been holding for the non-statutory reserve engineering report in the reserve accounts. We had put that in there. So Bernadette did make the transfer out of expense and into reserve. So we'll see that adjust itself next month there. From a gatehouse perspective, you know, we were favorable there too. Security was just timing. Supplies, as I mentioned, we're, you know, stocking them up and replacing stuff there, as Alan had given us a list to go through. And electricity and internet was $100 there. Utilities was favorable for the second month in a row. 400 on the electrical side, 100 unfavorable on the irrigation side. Reserves, same $7,700 basically a month. So you see overall, total expenses were $4,700 favorable, or about 10.6% to our total income. It was solid there for the month. If we,
When are we getting the new lights?
I left a message for Duke yesterday to get an update, because we're coming right to the point of about 60 to 70 days, which is what they kind of had anticipated, or they said
okay.
to bank on.
Mhm.
Really like to see if we could have that done before Thanksgiving.
Okay, good.
On that, but I know we do have a fair amount of new fixtures that they're going to have to order in. I mean, the 106 fixtures is a
Right.
fair amount. So I'll send out an update as soon as I get something from them. So if we go to the year-to-date results, as you can see here, income, we're still running unfavorable there, but if you look, we've offset that the Avalon assessment credit from about $4,300 in late fee income and $1,300 in miscellaneous income and interest. G&A there, we are about $600 favorable overall. Management fees, social, legal fees, which we anticipated printing because we've had extra printing this year in office supplies. That's pretty self-explanatory. Grounds were 27,500 favorable there. 13 of that's in the RIM, and then you got the tree removal account, the grounds, the 2,400 from the monthly pullback, wall repair, and then annuals there also. Let's see, gatehouse, you've got, it's finally a little bit better there, about $900 favorable overall. You're looking at, almost 1,900 in police services, 600 in cameras, supplies are up there, as well as pest control. Is that the new amount?
The $300.
Yeah.
That's, but that wasn't an actual expense, was it?
Yeah,
It shouldn't have been.
Because I saw
Because-
that go through, I thought maybe it was, we had discussed it, and then,
I'll check.
I mean,
with her.
it's really, I just want to make sure that we match the expense to the, the right expense line item to it.
But, okay, I'll check with her. I want to make sure that that's not the bond that should not be charged to you.
Okay, all right, yeah, if we can make a note to double check that, that's fine. From utilities perspective, we're closing the gap there, 2,100 unfavorable with irrigation and electric netting themselves out. Reserve expense, nothing new there. And then total expenses overall for the year, about 27,000 favorable, or 7% to our net income. So that does help with the kind of the cost controls we have in place. So moving forward, our operating surplus here, our average expense for the month ending in September was 446 days on hand. Our surplus, about 253,000 in surplus funding right now. Net income there, we're finally in the positive territory, and actually that should be more positive when you factor in the $2,600 for that reserve report that got put into expense instead of reserve. So you're really you're kind of pushing up there. And again, I think the 6% of net income is something that we can achieve from a stretch and recover all that and get back to what we had last year, which would be a miracle.
Which is really good. I mean,
Yeah.
we took an unexpected hit.
Yeah. Excuse me. Next one, our year-end balances here. This is for their aged receivables. So basically the one to look at is we dropped, it follows, as you can tell from the green bars, it follows its usual cycle there. So nothing really magical or strange about this at all. It's just, it is what it is at this point on that. Now it is telling, if we go to the next slide, where we break down in a little more granularity, our assessment receivables in aged dollars. So if you notice, our 90 days is at, if we got about 26,000 or 23,000, or 26,000, excuse me, of what's it called, of aged receivables, we have 80% of that are made up of 3 accounts. So 80% of our total of that, you take away that 80%, I mean, we're basically running at, hardly anything as a percent of net income. So I know we have one account at the attorney. I've asked for a status update on another account because that was coming through as coded as bankruptcy and foreclosure, so we needed a refresh on that. And then I think we had an intent to lien notice on the number 3 account in there, but I want to make sure that so account was at 1320. I want to make sure that Larson is aware of that so they can be prepared to move forward if once the clock runs out on the collection process for that. So we'll go into the project dashboard here. So highlights. We did, like I think we highlighted last month, we did have the basketball hoop replacement, water fountains done, tennis court fence replacement. So I went back to the 2 vendors who had, or the 3 vendors that sent in proposals, because remember, I believe I had mentioned that everyone wanted to cut the posts, the vertical running posts, fill it in with concrete, and then move them. Basically, you're changing the footprint. Alden revised their quote and said, yeah, we'll just paint the ones in place, and replace everything else. The one folks said that they don't have time now to redo a quote, so if we have to exclude them from a bid, then exclude them from a bid. So,
Okay.
yeah, they're out. And I've had 2 emails and 2 voicemails left for the other company to revise their bid or counsel why, if and why they can't do that. Haven't got anything back yet. So there's 2 more suppliers that we have. We're going to reach out, and then if we don't get any kind of material traction on this, we'll just go with the Alden. I mean, there's only so many times we can reach out for people to hand them work on this stuff.
Yeah. So that's replacing what's there, like a chain link?
Yeah, same as, that's pretty much the
Have to have
standard.
a chain link, we can't have anything a little more decorative, no.
No, the only
I
thing
know
that
we
some
talked
people
about
do
this,
decorating is, or they spice it up, is with the wind, the sails that they put there,
Oh.
which, one, are a
No,
maintenance nightmare,
yeah.
and two, it looks like a big box.
Yeah.
So, and they never, I don't care what anybody says, they zip tie them, they put metal on them, they always come loose, and they're always something that's always flapping
Right,
around, and
right.
it's
I was
a
just
maintenance
wondering
headache.
if we could do, some sort of black,
And- right.
nicer fencing, but it sounds like we have to have the chain link, like down
We can
there.
have the chain link, now you don't have to stick with the green, we can move it to something.
No,
I mean,
the green blends better
Yeah,
than
I'm just saying that's,
galvanized.
yeah, there's no other real, I guess you want to say widely, I guess deployed option, if I had to say that.
Well, I just think anything else would be too spaced out, right? And then
Mhm.
you defeat the purpose of,
Keeping the ball in there and
Yeah.
whatnot, so.
exactly.
And I think there's a certain element with sports, like if they bounce off of the, you know,
Oh, it gives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
Let's see, the sidewalk project, once we kind of finally.
Is it over?
Well, we still have some spaces left in Water's Edge. I know that
Okay.
Avalon is done, Boca, I believe, is 90% done, and we still have the two pieces that they have in the, going towards the rec area on the one side, like in the entrance lane.
Yeah, yeah.
Those there, so hopefully we can get that done here pretty quick, and then the only thing we have is, left for them is, there's a list of driveway aprons that we will be grinding the edge to bring it down, and then that'll complete that entire scope.
My goodness.
So, I mean, so we ended up with 111 panels replaced
It's a lot.
and 238 grinds. So there is, and the root remediation that they did was the best that I've seen up. This is the third vendor we've used since I've been on the board. This is the best that we've had on that. I mean, they really got down and took care of it. We're not gonna have any issues on those new ones for a while.
Good.
Other items of note here, I did open up a, let's see, for the monument signs, I split that. I have the water feature edition as a separate line item, and then the logo lettering refinish as a separate line item. And then I did create the logo redesign review, or rebranding elements that we'll get
Oh, okay,
into
good.
later in there. So that, those all been accounted for. Looking ahead to website, we're still trending up a bit here, since we are going to be having the holiday decorating contest online through the website. And I guess we can talk about that now. So I reached out to the IT vendor, and we can do it two ways. One way, we can have the pictures loaded up there, and then people can do much like a Facebook or an Instagram and do a like, and click on it to like, and then whoever has the most likes by neighborhood and then overall would be your winners. Or you could do the more traditional, you pick whatever house you want, and then it will email, basically email and tabulate a vote type of thing. So I don't know what your thoughts are. I haven't responded to them yet. I don't know what would be the
So you
easiest.
log in and you see,
Let's say you got 25 houses.
yeah.
So you're gonna have the neighborhood, you're gonna have,
like.
Water's Edge, Boca, Avalon. You'll have the houses in there under each, and then you can either click, you click the thumbs up. Like if you do the heart, whatever, and that's your pick for that. And then like maybe the second, the double heart is the overall winner.
Right.
And then that would be basically we just run the report and tabulate it after that, and it's done.
But it would have to restrict, once you picked one light for that neighborhood, it couldn't let you pick another one, right? And you
Correct,
would have to
yeah,
have
you would have
intelligence in
the
there.
guidelines in there already.
Yeah.
So it would only allow one for that.
That sounds easiest. Versus what, like
You
doing a
gotta
submit, like. a
pick
vote?
it and then submit, vote or whatever it is. I mean, that runs off
Either
of the,
way, it doesn't matter.
that runs off the PHP recycle, which, that's gonna be more, I guess you wanna say manual work, where the other one is more, you hit the likes, you just run a
It's more
report.
dynamic. Okay, well, let's do that then. I mean, it's
So-
easy enough.
I'll let the IT vendor know, because they're gonna do a mock-up, just kind of what it is. And then we'll have to talk about getting when Nick gets back. I think he's back tomorrow or Friday. Talk about pictures and how we're going to do that, so he can work through how we get the pictures and then send them over, do what, and I can get them onto the site. So.
Cool. Ready?
Yep. So going into the committee reports, ARB, there was one ARB meeting from my notes in October here. That seemed pretty straightforward. There's no other major ARB items to report. I did send over to Mike. There is a electronic application that came in earlier this week from someone in Boca Point. So hopefully he's working through like a schedule on that when you guys can meet and get that approved. But,
Did you get it?
I didn't get it.
no, I just sent it to Mike.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm assuming that the Leland ARB will reach out and send the whole
Right.
thing. I don't think there were no attachments on it. I think it was somebody who was looking for replacement on something, and they just wanted to make sure they got approval to
Yep.
replace. So,
Okay.
social committee. Let's see. Like I said, we had the decorating contest flyer sent out. Thank you for getting that taken care of once we dropped them off. We do have the web page I mentioned is in process. So I'm hoping that we can have this be reusable, and that's what I'm trying to get them to make sure, so we can have one for the holiday decorating contest, one for Halloween, and then you just change the security permissions for view on it, and then you can just pull them back up every year versus having to recreate the wheel. So we'll get that taken care of. So I think we're good on the Halloween decorating contest on there. So that seems to be managed effectively, and we'll just once we get the website up and get that
When do you
communicated
think
out.
that'll be done?
Should have the sandbox up by Friday.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, because they've got a couple things they're working on right now. It should all be done by Friday. Going into information technology, did get the enhancement, phase 2 enhancement list completed. The initial items we have there are focused on some minor issues, stuff that I see on the back end that's probably not noticeable to some folks. Those will be corrected. We also have the requested content additions. So we have the Turtle Creek, the 2026 page. That'll be so we can start loading information there. We'll also have the Halloween decorating, obviously. We'll be out there. And then they're configuring and standing up so we can reuse it again, the annual meeting and election stuff. Because that stuff really is its own separate header and it stays the same year after year.
Right.
You just need to update accordingly. So we'll have that ready when that mailing goes out. The first one, I believe, keep me honest, December?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And I'll go through it and set the schedule and collaborate with you if we need to adjust any dates. I know December 21st I won't be here, so we'll up that one by a day or
Yeah,
two.
because I think we were fine with going like the 17th or 18th on that to get it through the print shop. So, I mean, that's mostly standard boilerplate.
Exactly.
Make adjustments and go from there.
So, you can
Yep. Let's see, that's about it for IT committee. Infrastructure and access control. Overall, I talked about the sidewalk project. Tennis court, I talked about the exit gate sign. They picked up today the new exit gate sign, the message board, whatever we want to call it. So that's back from they had to install the light, because there's a light in there that we're going to hook into the power and be on a timer. So that's been powder coated, and hopefully get it in the next couple days and be done with that thing.
Unfortunately, right, it's just the lettered ones and not that.
Yeah. Yep. So, so that Mike kind of texted me and said they picked it up. Everything looks good on this one, since the last one came pretty
Okay,
messed up.
okay.
But we're good there. Rear irrigation pump, we had a failure on that on the 12th. Brightview fixed it. I think it was later that day. It was under warranty, so there is no charge. But that's back up and running again. And on the recreation program side, I just put in here as a note, The benches we approved at the last meeting are on order, and I said those are the long lead time, a week lead time on them. And then the trash cans have been ordered. They hopefully should be in middle of next week, late next week. Then we can start looking at getting them installed on that. From an access control side, the pool vendor damage, Tom Slayton has that claim in process. He sent the demand letter for the insurance information. We have all of our quotes in to repair the gates and the landscaping that was damaged, so we'll just work through that process. The gates right now, I mean,
Are they responsive to all this?
so far, Tom hasn't mentioned anything to me
Okay.
on it. I'd like they've ignored it or anything, but again, much like any kind of legal issue, you've always got some kind of time box you're in, trying to wait and get stuff through the system. So, but we'll get that taken care of. I'm assuming we can get hopefully we'll look at getting the gates repaired in the next month because they still work. There's no issue with them.
Right.
There's spots, some tack welds that need to be done, some bend some rebar back or whatnot. But the motors haven't shown any issues at this point, which
Okay.
is the big thing. And then the Arbicola that got ran over, we can have that in a couple days, whenever they can sign off on that. So, I mean, that's not a major. So, that kind of covers our dashboard reporting for the day. So, moving into continuing business here, we'll go to Turtle Creek to 2026. So, with all of the things we've been doing over the last, I want to say, 3-4 months, we've been discussing with updating the recreation center. How do we, work through the front marquee signs that haven't been touched in forever? The water feature as a potential, as an option there if we can get the grant on it. So, I thought we need to really kind of bundle this all together as one interconnected program, because essentially, Turtle Creek will turn 30 in April of 2026. So, yeah, hence the 2026. So in leading up to that, and it is time to kind of look at if you want to say at the prevailing trends that are impacting how, communities are being managed, not only at the HOA board, but from like a management company perspective. I know there's been a lot of focus at the CAI looking at, what is the expectation out of homeowners today that's different than it was 3-5 years ago, and then what's it looking like in the 3 to 5 to 10 year forward plane, and how do you get prepared to kind of meet those challenges. A lot of the disruption is coming obviously from technology. I don't think that's going to stop. I think the days of the information being sent out copy and paper are coming to an end. And I know that I don't know if it's going to be this legal session or legislative session, the next one. Condos, and if HOAs can get on board, they're going to allow associations to go to completely paperless. Where right now they demand that some things you have to send paper. They're going to tell you can go paperless, and people have to opt in for paper. So it's going to flip it so you can get out of the printing, copy print, mail room type thing and get more into electronic distribution and leverage the technology everyone uses. So from a recreation improvement standpoint, you see there we've got on our hit list, we've done the 2 on the top there. We're working on the bid review there for the tennis court, which that's a little early than what the reserve study says, but it's not extremely early, maybe 3 years early. But if you're going to do all the work up there, you might as well have a brand new fence and gate and all the rest of the stuff to make it look nice all the way around. The volleyball court replacement, we should have the final bids. We'll have about 5 or 6 bids on replacing that with that. We had mentioned about the synthetic putting green. And then I think, Kathy, you brought up a good point about having, if you want to call it, I don't know if you want to say an outdoor living design person, mock up some stuff for that area, what makes sense, take a look and put it out there and, see what people think on that. So you can, if we're going to spend the money and do it and remove that, the space needs to be done right the first time. Designed and executed
Well, and
correctly.
give us a roadmap, right? And then we can just start doing things as we have the time.
Let's see, what
So
else?
on this,
Yes.
so we've got it's 2026 program, and then we've got 2 tasks on here that's completed. Will this table of tasks keep growing? Is that the idea here, or?
I mean, I can see it growing, maybe some, as we
So
kind
would
of.
like complete this and then maybe start a new one, is that,
Or you keep adding to it.
Yeah,
To me,
just-
it's almost like you'd run this like a portfolio. So,
Okay.
you're just looking, I mean, for the replacement and some of the other stuff, it's just time and it needs to get done. If there's
Mhm.
something more strategic, I mean, to me, replacing benches that are 15 years old is more just tactical. I mean,
Exactly.
it's just time. But if you're gonna
Those
be
are more
adding,
strategic,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, then you need to be more strategic, okay, does this make sense? What are the homeowners' thoughts on this? Is it gonna get used if it's a new amenity? Something to that effect where you could see that running for a bit.
Right.
I'm hoping we can get through 75-80% of this list by the end of the year. Obviously, I know that's aggressive, because we have
Right.
long lead on the benches and other
Right,
things.
right,
But we'll see on that one. The other initiatives, I put there is the logo and the brand elements review. I know we've been looking at those mock-ups for, I guess, a refresh logo and colors and whatnot, so hopefully we can get finalized anywhere from, I think I said in my one email, 3 to 5, maybe
Right.
closer to 3. If we could have design choices that we can have out there and then send it out for feedback,
Mhm.
get it, either through some kind of, MailChimp survey, some kind of
Mhm.
communication mechanism that we can gather up feedback and whatnot on, and then go from there and see what we do, if anything. The front marquee water feature, I got an update on that because we did revise the quotes on that, because I think all of them had 4 jets, and we said wanted 5 of the bubblers, so I had to recycle that before I can submit, because I can't make any changes once that gets submitted. And then the quotes are in process for the refinishing on all the monument signs. So those are the back marble on all the signs, the neighborhood signs, and then the 2 front, as well as the brass colored, what's it called, lettering and logo. Working through the quotes on that, and I told them, if we needed to make changes to finish, color, and they said it's usually not a major. You're going to have plus or minus maybe 10 to 15%. So if you get a $10,000 bill, for that stuff, the core refinishing and the core activity is not going to change
Okay, good,
on
well,
that.
that's good to know.
So, but at least we'll have the
Will we
relationships.
know our logo in time before that?
Well, I mean, we're not on a schedule for that, so
Okay. Okay.
that won't move forward. I'm just looking to kind of size the bread box
I got you.
on those, because I have one quote that is 8,000 for the 2 front signs, and then I have one that is 10,200 for the 2 fronts and then the monuments. Now we also have to check, can we do LED lighting, the backlighting? Because if you really look at the
Need to.
neighborhood signs, they get washed out being on a bottom mount like that. They wash out. I mean,
You can't even see them.
Yeah.
That's right.
so that's something to be in there. But I at least wanted to get an initial baseline, and then as we make
Mhm.
adjustments, we can see where that drives the cost.
So we're just gonna package those monuments all in the same, okay, good, because it doesn't make sense to do one and not the other. Okay,
Right.
gotcha. Perfect.
Even if you keep them exactly the same color and everything, you
You
do
still
them
got
all
to
at the
do all
same.
the same. Yeah.
Because the economies of scale are there.
Yeah.
Just send it all to the machine shop and all that.
I gotcha, okay.
And then we've got the new homeowner welcome package we're looking at.
Yes, I did look at boxes, I really couldn't find anything.
Ah, I
Did-
found 'em.
Did you?
I've
Okay.
already ordered 3 samples.
Okay.
So these are-
Because I couldn't.
Yeah, so essentially these will be very, almost like an Apple device, an Amazon device you
Yeah.
get,
Those soft.
well
heavy,
packaged,
yeah.
thought out, so they're gonna send over some
Magnetic.
samples. They don't really have a minimum quantity, because I was asking, do I
Oh,
get like
really?
1,000? He's like, if you get a
awesome.
premium box, you can get 25, you can get 10, doesn't matter.
Mhm.
So, so now we need to, kind of take a look and.
That's good to know, because if we change the logo, we would need more, so we have to. good.
Yeah, and then I guess we have to just compile what we would, I guess, target for being the contents, what's in the box,
Mhm.
so to speak. on that, and then, hopefully, and this is aggressive, I mean, we'll target a rollout like January 1, so it kind of coincides with the new year, and people as they move in. And that's the other thing we have to figure out is how to effectively manage, and this is
And
one that
deploy it.
always
Yeah.
is problematic due to the latency that comes from when you buy a home to when it's recorded to when it hits, Leland's account records to that. There's always a certain amount of latency that comes through on them. So, but we'll keep pushing forward on that one. And then from a communication standpoint, from a homeowner outreach, we'll resend or we'll relaunch the newsletter on October 24th. And looking at it, I wasn't happy with the template, so I scrapped that template, started over. Plus, I think there's a lot more content coming out of this meeting that we'll be touching on, so we can start getting into a monthly cycle on these after the board meeting, so then we can have a board update in there too.
Right.
From
I
each
gotcha,
meeting.
yeah.
And then, let's see, we'll have the additional website content in process. We'll release it to homeowners on the 23rd. So that'll be so what I'm kind of figuring is, depending on if we get everything in, we should have that Turtle Creek 2026. You'll have the recreation area stuff, kind of the mock-ups of what's been done, kind of pictures of what we have now, kind of some mock-ups of what we're looking at, places that, to obviously voice comments. We'll have the comments, we can gather feedback there. We'll have, hopefully by that time, the logos to take a look at with the
Right.
coloring and start to, I guess, introduce those for review. And then, what else would be on there? Yeah, I mean, that would, those are the big ones that would be on there.
Right.
I cover that. And then like the marquee sign with the bubbler. And I think the other stuff we have to put in there, like the before and after of the light fixtures, I think those will make a difference once those get
yeah.
replaced.
Yeah.
Just to see it, moving things forward in that regard. So I would forecast that we'd send out some surveys in November and December covering the major items. One of them obviously going to be logo refresh activity, to kind of gather that to see where we go. Because if we do intend to kind of move forward on some kind of program there, I'd like to get that locked in sooner than later, because we have to start changing. Website branding needs to change. A lot of stuff has to change on that. So that, I figure it's just easier to report all this and then to package it onto the website in a one-stop shop, so to speak,
Right.
versus parceling it off and all that kind of, looking at 20 different ways to figure this out and try to figure out where we are, what we're doing, and all that kind of stuff. So okay. If we want to move ahead, following up on our homeowner brick program, the paver. I brought the paver sample and the catalog in there. And that has all the colors and all the options in there. And then that one is just, I just like the lighter tone. That's why I got the free sample as that. We can pick anything we want out of there. And like I said before, there's no upfront financial commitment. They'll build essentially a web page for us to utilize for people to order it and see how many people we get subscribed to it. I mean, I just don't see a lot of downside when we're not. You only pay for what you order, essentially. So, and then to your point about the outdoor living design consultation, figure out exactly how do we make some kind of attractive area leveraging whoever bought these. Is it a flag? Is it a
Right. What do we do with that?
Yeah, something like that.
It's for that, yeah.
But let's see how many people we have sign up. I mean,
We don't have Turtle Creek flag, right?
no. Not to say that we couldn't get one.
Yeah.
We get the new logo finished.
Yeah, if we redesign the logo or
Yeah.
something.
I just think we need to be careful where it goes, right? Because, you don't want to put it somewhere where maybe somebody's house,
No.
next there that they don't want to see it. We have to talk about height and all
We
that.
put it out in front of the guard shacks, they're gonna,
Well, we were talking about putting bricks, using it around the bricks.
In the middle of the pond.
Like a floating.
Yeah.
Can always hang the American flag out in the flagpole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that done.
Well, yeah, so we'll see, we'll get some ideas on to
But,
where
I mean,
that,
to your
but-
point, it's not that hard to get a custom 3x5 or whatever nylon flag
Mhm.
done.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Or you do it
straightforward.
on Vista Prints.
Yeah, so, but I guess, you know, if anybody doesn't have a problem with this, I mean, we can take a motion to move forward, and I'll contact the vendor and get the specifics and all that kind of good stuff on that.
Sure,
And-
I'll second that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Okay, so we'll move forward with the brick program there.
But one thing though,
Mhm.
so we did decide, I know you reluctantly, it's gonna go to charity versus.
We haven't decided that yet, did we? I don't know if we took a motion on it.
I don't think we did. I know you kinda want it to go to Turtle Creek revenues, but I like the idea of it going to a charity. Is there a way we
Yeah.
could do a charity of choice? So when you bought one, you could pick what charity, or should we do?
I can ask
Should Turtle
the,
Creek, you know, kind of pick one and.
I'd rather have the people tell you versus us picking one. And then, I mean, there's a bunch of charities out there.
Exactly.
Let me ask Jack on that, if we can do that. I'm sure that this is not a new question, so.
And you're okay with the charity? You probably vote nay, but.
I already was gonna I already had the draft email to Bernadette to create the new GL account. No, that's fine. Let me find out the details, see if we can
Okay.
do that, and look how the payment process goes, because there's gotta be a button to check. You know, everybody else does a round off to charity or do something.
Yeah.
I mean, type of
Well,
thing.
yeah, I mean, like Smile Amazon even does, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure they can.
Yeah, so I'll ask them when I follow up on that and send it along. So,
Yeah, because I mean, I'd probably get one for my pets, you know, so.
yeah, because I think we talked last time, we had like 2 different sizes, so you have 2 different price points,
Mm-hmm.
and then, figure out from there.
Yep.
So, all right, I'll take that as an action item to ask him on the
All right.
specified charity item. All right. Next up, table replacement. So we have the one table that's currently on the cement pad over by the tennis court and the new water fountain.
Mm-hmm.
So with the benches, what I had coded out here is these are also Dumar, which again is top of the line for their for outdoor type of things. So you have 3 table options there that I saw that look decent. First, you have the one there that's kind of it's 42-inch table and 4 chairs. That, I mean, they're not connected like you see the other 2, so they're individual chairs. You can, they have to be placed, and then, they'll be mounted in a specific spot. But I mean, they're not connected, so I don't know if that makes a difference, leg room or
Is
anything.
there a downside to that, or?
Yeah, the chairs pull out of the concrete too easy.
Do they?
And the table has a wider base on it, it's better, but
yeah.
So then some
There's
of
too
these
much
that are
flex.
all one
I
would
would
be
say,
more?
I would say 99% of the ones I see are like the ones on the right.
The single
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 piece.
unit.
And they're in all kinds of public parks, schools. Schools put them in the courtyards for lunch for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying that's the far, not the middle one,
No.
Okay,
I mean, that's a nice one too.
Well, the middle one's all one piece too.
yeah.
Well, no, those little feet that stick out are bolted on,
Yeah.
Oh,
I
those
just
little
thought the.
things.
rusting bolts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, you got bolts on the other one too. I mean, that should all be stainless from the door.
Those bolts that hold it down though.
You're saying that little thing on the
Yeah,
end there
yeah,
is
little
suspect
sweep,
to
yeah.
being, yeah.
Yeah.
Now they did have
None of
different.
it's stainless steel, by the way.
Hold on, I'll have the Honnold switch it out.
Oh, yeah.
I had him do it on the benches.
Did you? Yeah, yeah.
Good.
So
Makes a huge difference.
yeah, it needs to stay there. Let me see if we have the full quote. But while I'm looking for that,
And all of those can be bolted down to the ground permanently too.
yes, and that's what you'd want.
Yeah, you don't want to move around.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you that one on the right, those things are flipping heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it takes a bunch of people to move one of those things.
Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so you can do an embedment on a surface mount or a subfloor. I mean, so there are different mounting options on them, but I mean, I guess to me it's more just about the design intent on that.
So
Yep.
is the current concrete pad big enough? It's awfully small.
Probably not, but that's, if you look at that, all the prices that quoted there are the cost that it would cost Hono Property Services to buy and have it shipped. So they'll give it to us
Okay.
at their cost, and then they just would charge us for installing concrete,
Okay.
if needed.
Okay, gotcha.
So I negotiated that because, I mean, if you even get 20% markup on some of this stuff.
So
you're looking
we need to assemble them because they will not come like in one piece. They
Yeah,
will
that's
come-
correct. You
That's,
assemble
yeah.
them.
It's not us to do, that's the vendor.
The vendor
So he will,
Yeah.
this price includes
Mhm.
assembly.
assembly and installation.
Yeah, when I say installation, that means assembly too.
Right.
Yeah, because obviously these, they're gonna come broken down.
I mean, that one on the right, I mean, you're gonna need a pad, well, actually,
Yeah.
all of them, you need a pad like 8 feet by 8 feet just to fit that stuff on there with a little extra.
Yeah. I
You know,
mean,
it's
we'll
big, yeah.
we'll have to get
Yeah,
do
We
something
need
with
it though.
yeah, I know, I'm
Yes,
just saying.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a pretty good sized pad to put those in.
I mean, hell, you could even use the current pad we have and put pavers around them, to lock it in, to
That's
expand it, to save
Yeah.
the concrete instead of doing a full tear out.
Right,
But to me, I mean, if you look at the one in the middle, that one kind of resembles the benches a lot in terms of its design.
I know,
Oh,
that's kind
yeah.
of what I kind of like that one.
To me, that's what you're looking for. I mean, the one on the far right there, I mean, that's a pretty standard one.
It is.
I don't think they have anything other than that, like
It
diamond
is-
They're
string.
plain, yeah, they're plain
More
Jane.
industrial to, more
Yeah.
commercial, where
Yeah.
the middle one to me looks a little more homey,
Yeah.
more
And-
residential.
Well, if they're gonna change it over to stainless, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Then
Would be
you're
a done
okay
deal.
with that little thing
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
bottom of
that's the
that?
only issue.
It's okay?
So, I mean, I think we agree the one on the left is out, so it's
Yes.
between
Yeah.
the two there.
Yeah, the one in the middle is the way to go if you can get it to change
I
over.
like the one in the middle, of course, it's more expensive, but I like that one the best.
Well, I mean, if we're putting $1,300 in each bench,
Yeah.
I mean, it's about, yeah, on
Same
there.
thing, yeah.
42-inch table and then 4 chairs.
Did we get the cannon too?
Yeah, I know, I wish, I thought, I was laughing, I was looking at that, I'm like, yeah, I better crop and keep that in. So, but, I mean, if we're good with the middle one, because that does have the most design aesthetic match to what we have in those benches that we ordered.
Yeah.
So, then I'll make the motion then to choose the 42-inch table with 4 chairs in the amount of $2,695 to be taken from Recreation Reserve account, and the vendor of choice would be Hono Property Services. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then, now I don't know if that has an 8-week lead time, I don't know on that, so I'll ask her, and then I'll shoot her a text after we're done here and then see. Because I'm hoping that, if stuff comes in kind of around the same period, we can just monopolize him and them for, a couple of days to do all of them at once instead of, we did a bench here and that.
Well, I'm sure that they can hold on to the stuff for a little while.
Yeah, they've got
They have a little warehouse?
yeah. Yeah, because they
Do
were
they
saying
assemble on site or at their warehouse?
on site. Yeah, 'cause they always do that because it's better for avoiding of scratches or anything like that in
Yeah.
transportation. So it's just all in the
Mhm.
boxes, just load it up and bring it.
Right.
Trying to assemble that and load it on a trailer, oh my God, you kill yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Excellent. Let's see, next, just an update on this. I think I mentioned this.
Can you
Yep.
go back just
Of course.
what's the diameter for the table in the middle?
What?
It's a
42
14
inches.
inch?
42 inch, like all the other ones.
So the other one also?
Yeah, all
they're
three
both
of them are.
42. They're all 342 because they have 36, but it's
This one looks much bigger, compared
I
to the
think-
size of the chairs.
this one. You're on a closer perspective than
Yeah.
this because that's 42-inch and
No,
that looks smaller than
I'm
that.
comparing
Yeah.
it to the
Yeah.
seats size.
It's the optical illusion of the picture.
Yeah, because if we look at
You are more up close on that last one,
Yeah.
for sure.
so if you look at, let me see if I got the specs. So you've got, let's see, with the vertical strap, it's 42-inch diameter on that, and then
And the chair size?
chair
The
size,
seats?
the seats, they're rated to, hold on, each one is rated to hold 406 pounds. Let me just do a quick comparison. And then on the other one, you're looking at the same size table, and they're rated only for 374 pounds.
The one in the middle?
No, the one on the,
Really?
On the right?
Oh.
Wow.
I don't know if that makes a difference.
I would think this one would have
Handle way more weight.
exactly.
Yeah.
than
But
the
if you,
one
but if you
that-
look at it, you have very little border, you have very little of the outline. That's mostly like a pressed roll of screen, and it's got the two, basically the two larger pieces at the, doing the end caps. This one has the bigger outline in terms of it's thicker, the grade of the metal's thicker
Yeah.
around that, and it's got
Yeah.
that thing in the back for the support, the lumbar crossbar for the extra support, so that's probably why it's rated more. But I'm assuming most of these come,
Yeah.
I'm assuming most of these come same,
I would think,
push
yeah,
style,
they would
but
be, yeah.
I can always ask them.
No, no, fine.
Oh.
I think it's perspective though in the picture.
It is, yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yep. And then, front marquee, just an update on this. So 2 out of 3 vendors have sent back our revisions to go from 4 to 5 bubblers. There's been no material change. I think it was, the most we incurred extra was like $110. Honda didn't even
okay.
change it. And I said, fine, we'll just order it.
Oh, okay, good.
So there's only one. I gotta have the third one back though, because they all have to be like for like. They all have to have the same scope and everything.
Yeah.
Before I can submit the package, but everything else is done. The notarization of the meeting minutes, all that stuff has all been completed and ready. I was just waiting for final sign off. I didn't finish my thought on the last bullet, but I left a message again for the guy. It was by the end of the week, so
Okay,
10/19, hopefully.
okay.
Hopefully not. Hopefully sooner than that. So I don't know why it's just so hard to update and send over, but it's in process, and then we'll put it in and see what we get.
How long does it take once we put it in?
Depends on the review cycle, because they have a monthly review because it's a committee that has to review it, and they're on a monthly schedule. I'll have
Oh,
to-
so whenever we get
They
it.
build them up, and then if there's any in queue ahead of you, there's a whole thing on that.
Okay.
But once it gets in, at least I get the confirmation email from the director.
But we would know within 2 months?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think when we did the lights, had it within like a couple weeks.
Yeah, because we happened to hit the cycle.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. Okay.
So
You got any pull there with your friends?
yeah, I go right to the committee for that. Okay, so I covered continuing business, new business. I'll just speak to it. We got Maria's been how can we say dogging vendors on getting this the lightning rod at the gatehouse. I guess reviewed and then actually, I guess you want to say hooked up or grounded correctly, for lack of a better way to put that. We had one quote come in last week, and that was for $995 to do the work. And then I believe we had somebody there today.
Yes, Central.
So we have another quote coming in, hopefully in the next day or two from Central. I guess we've been talking about this for a while, and since we have one quote in, I think we can comfortably do a not to exceed of $995 for the quote that we have. I mean, because it's
okay.
somebody will be you're either under it, or if you're over it, I'm not going to take somebody if I already have a quote that's.
Well, we're comfortable with this guy that's the. Okay.
Yeah, I did the. I mean, it's been doing it for 20 years. This company.
Okay, okay.
Um,
I'm
so.
good with that.
Yeah, for $995
Yeah, we're
bucks, and
comfortable with this.
so I mean, if that makes
Yeah,
makes sense,
that would make
everybody.
it easier, and then we can move forward if we do it that way. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'll motion for that to,
Okay.
you say it, because I don't
All
remember
right.
the company.
So,
$995.
well, we're just going to do a general, not to exceed $995 for the gatehouse lightning rod grounding.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Trying to think of new business. There's one other thing I wanted to mention. Oh, we've been having some issues with the database up in the gatehouse. So we've actually, we're doing now nightly local backups on it to keep it going, and I'm building a SharePoint database.
This is the MS one?
Yeah, because we still have some fields to get enabled for homeowners to go in and then, fill out all the information necessary to do kind of an apples to apples to transition out of that.
Okay.
But I can do a quick SharePoint database that'll be online then. I mean, so they can just go in and instead of hitting an Access database from, I don't know, Windows 95 or whatever, Office 95, I mean, even trying to upgrade it, because we did get an upgrade license on it, a database is still wonky. I mean, it's just old.
But the Access is a total rewrite from that, so it wouldn't even convert over.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of work to,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
to do it from doing it over.
But I can at least get a flat file to find the fields in a SharePoint database, because SharePoint doesn't care, and then just
Right.
drop it in.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then I just threw the same basic front end on it, so they can GUI it, the same GUI, and then they can just do the same thing, because all they do is either type in the numbers, the 10650, or
And it just
last
pops
name,
up, yeah.
and then it just starts to bring it up and filter the database right there, which I can do really quick.
Okay, but, my experience with SharePoint is kind of a dog.
Not the new
We
one.
can try it, okay.
SharePoint
Yeah.
365?
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't had any issue. And I'm not a
And
Microsoft
and
person.
it's secure, right? I mean, it's
Mhm.
all.
Yeah, there's dual authentication. So even if they want to change something, it's actually linked into my cell phone, so they can't change a record because they need the PIN that comes only to my cell phone. Since
Well, we need to change that.
it's on my hosted sandbox with Microsoft
Okay.
Azure. That's why. This is just, it's got to be a temporary
It's a
solution.
temporary, okay, yeah, until we can get, the
Yeah,
website.
and I was going to have Lincoln's cell phone added there too. Because I
Okay,
can
that's
add
probably
another,
good,
so
yeah.
Lincoln will get the thing too if somebody tries to change it, but the only person who should ever change it is Alan. Because the other folks, I mean, I told them, don't touch anything, you're gonna break it. So, just
So
look.
whenever you ask for something, they just jot it down and have Alan update it later, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's been the easiest way.
Okay.
And then even if Alan runs into problems, then he usually just sends me an email,
Mhm.
and I'll just remote into the computer in my house, and then just flip it and do it. So,
Okay, so then, and given that SharePoint's Microsoft, I'm sure it's easy to port out from that database?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's just a flat file. Once you define the fields,
Yeah, exactly.
and each one, at least
Like
on
a
that
wizard
access,
probably pops up,
whoever
right?
built that originally, and you don't see that too often on amateur databases. They usually you just have an ID, but they hit a field called unique ID.
Right.
So the
uh-huh.
unique ID is not changeable. So even if you rearrange stuff, I mean,
Right.
you have people who may have lived in here 3 months, but their unique ID stays
Right.
all the time. So you can't ever have a number 79 overwrite another 79.
Right, right,
It's
right.
always, I mean, that
Yeah.
keeps it, and that, I think that's part of the problem too, is that deactivated records are clogging up the memory cache as it kind of cycles through it, because there's like 3 times the amount of, the relationship is 3 times the deactivated records to activated records. So that's how many people you've come through in, I don't know,
Yeah, but
10
see,
years.
But you're not even getting updates on that anymore, right? I mean, that's like unsupported by Microsoft at this
Mhm.
point, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't put a patch
Right.
through if I had to. It would
Yeah,
kill it.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I went through that one the hard way.
Yeah.
A couple clients.
Well, you know what, this actually might be a blessing in disguise, because it's probably easier to take all this data to SharePoint and then to our website than it would be from a non-Microsoft to a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
agree.
so, probably, yeah.
So, but I wanted to mention that as I popped it into my
Okay.
head, so.
Yeah.
So any other new business from the board here? Okay. If not, okay, turn it over to our homeowner forum. Open the floor. Any questions? Yes?
It was kind of hard to hear you back here. Did you decide to put up a flag in the front?
No, we were discussing it. I mean,
I think that'd be a really great idea.
Yeah, we can get one made, that's why I was saying, and sorry for not saying it louder, we can get one made pretty easy, and then just have it, you have the US flag, and then you can just put it underneath like a lot of places do.
Yeah, I think that would be a very important highlight at the front.
Yeah, that's something, I don't know if you have any vendors who do that, but maybe if you could explore, send it. we
But
can
it
see.
should go with the design
Yeah.
of everything.
Oh, yeah.
We'll incorporate it when I work with the
Yeah.
person that
Yeah,
gets us that.
but on the front flag, I mean, we can do that relatively quickly.
I mean,
Oh, the
I-
one up.
Yeah, the run in
I think
front.
the ideal one is like have it a roundabout, like a small circle
Mhm.
with
Right.
all these bricks coming into
Right.
the circle. In the middle of the circle, we have a high pole with the
Mhm.
American flag.
Right.
Underneath it, either Florida flag or
Turtle Creek.
Turtle Creek.
Mhm.
And that would be
then-
in the recreation area?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it is.
But we can do
surrounded-
more than one flag, and then to Kathy's point, that's the one in the front that we have on the little island with the US flag. We can just have one put there too.
No, I mean
Yeah.
a really big flag.
Oh, you mean like the world's largest flag ever?
No, not the world's largest, but.
At our dealership out in Colonial,
Yeah.
out there heading out toward wherever it is out there.
That's what I was
That thing
thinking
is
of.
massive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
well,
something,
you know,
yeah.
we'll see what the, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll come up with some designs,
And
but I
maybe-
just think we need to watch because, you know, you don't want it like singing it from Sand Lake Road. you
Why
know,
not?
The our flag.
Make an
Yeah.
80
You know what I mean? That
Make an
thing can
80-foot
be
pole,
like
90-foot
so
pole.
big that.
Yeah, but you can pull me some vendors.
Yeah.
on
Some,
to get some quotes,
like
'cause I
if we
can't imagine
have
that
Yes.
much.
the
We can get a
circle
couple.
surrounded by some
I don't care.
lights.
I mean,
Well,
if we
yeah,
get-
because
I know,
they'll
I
be
think it would
good,
be very
especially if you're gonna
nice.
have some.
Are we gonna wait till we get the new logo?
Neighbors
Keep
with-
But I think
tables,
get the vendor
it's
lined
lead
up.
from
Yeah, get the
different
vendor lined up, but even if we do 3 or
Exactly.
4 of them,
to
that's
the
30, 40
circle
bucks
to
a
the
pop.
middle.
Yeah.
Who cares, and then we can put it up
Yeah,
and
some
test it
landscape.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it should be white flag with the green logo.
That'd be cool.
It won't be the green on the white.
No, it
on the
doesn't show
back.
up that well.
Yeah, so, okay, yeah, if you can do that, just,
Okay.
you'd probably find that easier than me, so, okay, thank you for that. on that. Anything else from our homeowners here? Okay. If not, then I will, I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:33 PM. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Bye.
Hi.
All right, thank you, everyone, appreciate it.